What's going on? It's Brian when we go to U Mechanics. Out here in the middle of nowhere, working on a 2004 Mazda Tribute 3.0. Customer complaint. It looks like the rear left-hand tire was hit by another car. So we've got some out of alignment issues, probably some bent control arms. Let's get in there and figure it out. All right, looks like the impact happened somewhere right here because I can see some damage right there. Also, if you notice, let's get down here. This thing is bent. It is bent bad. This bottom one is bent. So that's why the alignment is way off. Looks like our upper control arm and then our trailing arm are both going to need to be replaced. Everything looks good on that side. Not so much on this side. I think we can we're okay with this. It's just a little dent. I'll find out once I put the tire back on. I can bounce it up and down. If I hear any noise coming from here, then I'm going to recommend to replace this as well. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and replace this upper control arm and that lower trailing arm. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this nut off to separate this ball joint from the knuckle. All right, it's an 18 millimeter. Good luck getting a socket on it. So I'm going to use an extra long wrench. Pretty simple. All right, once you remove the nut, you want to put it back on a few threads. What we're going to do is we're going to take ourselves a little sledgehammer. We're going to hit the knuckle right there. It releases the ball joint. There's a bracket on the back side of it for the brake line. You're going to want to take that bolt out so the bracket can move around. Otherwise, we won't be able to get this upper control arm out. So once you loosen this bracket, you'll be able to move it over like this a little bit to get that out. All right, so now that we got that ball joint released from the knuckle, follow the arm on down. We got to remove this bolt right here. It's going to be on the back side. All right, now that we got all the bolts out and the nut off of the ball joint, I'm going to pry up right here. And hopefully it comes out pretty simple. There we go. We get that ball joint out first. And we're just going to pry it up and out. Boom. Just like that. All right. We got the new upper control arm in. I didn't post a video on how to do it because it's basically the reverse of what I just shown you. The only difference is when I lined it up to put the ball joint in here, I had to give it a little couple love taps to tap it down in there. Put the nut on, hand tight, line this up. This was pretty easy to line up. I did have to lay down. I'll show you real quick. Let's back this camera up. I did have to lay down like this with my wrench on the back side. See if I can back you up. Lay like this with my wrench on the back side. In order to get the bolt to come through, for me to push it through, I had to put my foot on the brake drum and push it back to line it up. Pretty simple, just a little bit of force and it works. Just tighten the bolts and then there we go. We got a new upper control arm. All right, now it's time to remove the lower trailing arm. It's going to be the same thing as the upper control arm except for it's flipped. There's a ball joint on this end and there's a bolt on that end. So first we're going to start by removing that nut right there, and then I'm going to show you a trick on how to get that ball joint to release. All right, so we got the nut off of the lower ball joint. Now, there's a few different ways we can remove that. We can, if you're replacing this trailing arm with a brand new one and you're not going to reuse it, then it's okay to just hit it like that. But if you're not replacing it, then you don't want to hit the ball joint stud like that, because you'll end up damaging it and not being able to put the nut back on. So first thing we're going to try, since we're replacing this trailing arm, is we're going to try hitting that stud. All right, now we got the rear bolt out. We got the ball joint free. So now I'm just going to pry, hopefully pry down a little bit. We may have to get a little aggressive with it. There we go, and she's out. All right, we got it in. This thing is incredibly difficult to put in by yourself. Have someone to help you, because once you get the ball joint locked down, it is almost impossible to line that back bolt up unless you have somebody out here pushing on the bottom of this drum. They need to push inwards so you're allowed to line that bolt up. You cannot do it yourself. I tried so many different ways to do it myself, and it just didn't work. So I had to walk across the street and ask the neighbor if he could come over and help me. And I gave him 20 bucks for 5 seconds of his help. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching We Go To You Mechanics. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to say that I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed to my channel. We Go To You Mechanics is a company that's run by me, and I'm the only employee. So I'm out here working my ass off in the heat, trying to fix as many vehicles as I can. And you know, some of these videos might not be the way that you YouTube mechanics like to do things, but it's the way that I do things, man. And I'm always open for suggestions. I'm open-minded to growth. I'm open-minded to learning new things. The way that I do things isn't always the right way to do things, but if my customers aren't satisfied, I'll always go back and make sure they're satisfied. So I appreciate all my followers. I appreciate all my friends and my family's support, and I love you from We Go To You Mechanics.